For anyone who grew up in the early 2000s, this is one of the most recognizable voices in animation. Lilo Stitch, the spirited Hawaiian girl from Disney's Lilo and Stitch, became a face of childhood innocence for a generation. But that same year, pop culture was gripped by a very different image. A vengeful, long-haired ghost crawling out of a screen, the centerpiece of a horror phenomenon that turned a static television into a source of dread. These two characters represent opposite extremes of the cultural landscape, yet they share the same origin. Both were brought to life by the same 11-year-old girl, Daveigh Chase. In June 2026, Chase died at the age of 35. Her father confirmed the cause as complications from bacterial meningitis and a blood infection, marking a sudden end for an actress whose early work remains a fixture in film history. The tragedy of her passing brings a new focus to her career, raising the question, how did one child actor embody both the heart of a Disney classic and the face of a horror revolution in a single year? Chase's professional peak was defined by an incredibly dense production window. Between 2001 and 2002, her schedule was filled with 3 projects that would eventually become genre-defining hits. In 2001, she provided the English voice for Chihiro in Studio Ghibli's Spirited Away. The role demanded a wide emotional arc, following a sullen, vulnerable girl as she transforms into a resilient hero. During that same period, Disney directors were looking for someone to play Lilo. They specifically chose Chase because her voice had a haunted quality and a range that shifted easily from gloomy to exuberant. Her acting wasn't limited to the microphone. Her physical energy in the recording booth was so distinct that Disney animators used her movements to help shape Lilo's quirky, tomboyish personality. That performance earned her an Annie Award for Outstanding Voice Acting, a major recognition within the animation industry. Within 12 months, she had voiced the leads for both an Academy Award-winning feature and one of Disney's most successful original properties of the decade. But that was only half of her workload. Chase transitioned from the warmth of the recording booth to the live-action set of The Ring, a remake that changed the trajectory of Western horror. As Samara Morgan, Chase relied on physical stillness and what she called a freaky twist in her vocal delivery. The result was a performance that felt genuinely otherworldly, rather than just a child in makeup. Even Chase found a character unsettling. She was so frightened by her own scenes in the well that she reportedly covered her eyes while watching the dailies with the crew. The impact was immediate. At the 2003 MTV Movie Awards, she won Best Villain, beating out stars like Daniel Day-Lewis and Mike Myers. Samara became a fixture in the genre because Chase was able to project a sense of human sadness beneath the character's more terrifying traits. The 2002 press tours for these films created a bizarre reality for the 12-year-old. She was forced to jump from discussing the family themes of Ohana in one interview to the psychological dread of a cursed tape in the next. During this same window, she also filmed her role as Samantha Darko in the indie cult thriller Donnie Darko. It was a 1-year output that touched nearly every corner of the industry, spanning Disney, Studio Ghibli, indie sci-fi, and major studio horror. As she transitioned out of child stardom, Chase worked to avoid the typecasting that often follows a famous horror role. She eventually moved into mature television drama, joining the cast of HBO's Big Love. For 5 seasons, she played Rhonda Vollmer, a manipulative teenager raised in a polygamist cult. It was a role defined by dark complexity, requiring Chase to hold her own alongside a veteran adult ensemble. Her time on the Emmy-nominated series demonstrated a range that extended far beyond voice booths and genre roles of her youth. After her role on Big Love concluded, Chase's presence in the industry began to fade, with her final on-screen credits appearing in 2016. Her nearly decade-long hiatus was marked by public personal struggles and legal issues, while she maintained a low profile in Los Angeles. Her death at 35, following a hospitalization for malnutrition and subsequent infection, brought a tragic close to a life lived largely out of the spotlight in recent years. Daveigh Chase's career is defined by the lasting impact of her early performances. Whether she's the voice of a lonely girl finding family or the silent figure in a horror classic, her work from that single intense year continues to reach new audiences decades later.